So, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. If you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so at this time. We would love to have you a part of the community. And also go ahead and if you find value in this particular video, please go ahead and like it. We definitely want to hear your feedback, so please drop us a comment as well. All right. So my name is Janice, one of the educators here at Hills Leadership and Training Institute. And as you know, over the last couple of weeks, we have really been talking about email marketing. And one of the first things that we want to, really kind of bring to the forefront is that email marketing is something that needs to be planned, right? So, one of the first steps that you want to take before you even begin to build out your campaign is to really think about the structure. Like, what is the purpose of this particular email campaign that you are wanting to begin? And so, in this video, we are going to walk through the planning of your email marketing campaign. So, with that being said, get your paper, get your pencil, be ready to take notes, be ready to stop the video at any time, be ready to watch it more than once. Okay, so I am going to share my screen because we have quite a few things that we really want to kind of talk about. And I want to make certain that as we are really kind of getting through or going through all of this, that you are seeing exactly what it is that we're talking about, right? So, again, you should be seeing my screen, and it's going to be a PowerPoint that I am presenting to you. So go ahead and just kind of check me out there. I'm still here with you. Hi, but I'm going to be also just showing the PowerPoint as we go through this particular video. So what are we going to do? So in this video, we're going to go into one of the most critical steps in making certain that your email marketing campaign is successful. And that step is setting clear goals for success. Now, when we look at goals, our goals, it really should be the foundation, that is guiding our effort to ensure that our emails are being sent with a purpose. Now, this particular information is good for anyone. If you are new to email marketing or if you are looking to refine your existing approach, this video is going to help you create those specific actionable goals that are going to be something that you can measure in terms of results, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, it's going to show whether or not you have an increase in your open rates, right? Whether or not your particular message is staying focused and aligned with your business goals or objectives. So those are going to be some really important details. Now, to make this process easier, we have developed a free resource for you, and this is Define Your Email Marketing Goal Planner. This planner can be downloaded for you to help outline your objectives and, of course, to help you track your progress. Now, to find this particular download, you are going to click in the description, and the actual link for the download is there. But I also want you to remember that we are still taking applications for the cohort. Okay. If you're really serious and you're ready to go ahead and take your email marketing skills to the next level, I want you to go ahead and apply for the actual cohort through the link that is also going to be available in the description. But if you're still kind of sitting on the fence and you just want to kind of build out your goals for an email marketing campaign, then definitely do not forget to go ahead and download your free resource. Again, if you haven't already done so, please make certain that you subscribe to the channel, okay? So you don't miss any of the tips, okay, or strategies that I provide to you here as a resource for you to get to the money, okay? So let's jump right into it. Let's start setting those goals and hopefully transforming your email campaign into a powerful tool for your success, okay? So, why do you need goals, right? And this may seem like a really simple question because, a lot of times when we begin a new project, there's usually some type of a clear objective that we're trying to meet, right? So when we're beginning any kind of new endeavor, and if you are not necessarily new to marketing, but you've never really taken this approach first, then this is where you are going to find that if you put in the effort, right, then you're going to be able to quickly kind of see whether or not your particular objective is unfocused, if it's unproductive, or if it's simply disconnected from your overall business objective. So, we're going to break down some of the reasons why it is important for us to set clear goals, okay? And how by setting those clear goals, we can transform our campaign into this magnificent masterpiece. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do or we want to remember is that when we're setting a goal, it provides focus and direction for your campaign, right? It is your absolute roadmap for how your email marketing efforts are going to essentially be laid out. It should give you a clear sense, honestly, of what kind of purpose the actual campaign is intended and the direction that you want to go. So, what kind of questions should you ask yourself in order to ensure that your campaign provides focus and direction for your email marketing endeavors and that your goals are clear? So, the very first thing you want to ask is, what am I trying to achieve with this campaign? Who is my target audience? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and what actions do I want my recipients to take, right? Once this email get into their actual email box, what do I want them to do? And we're going to talk about setting goals to various call to actions. Okay. The second thing is you wanted to help track and measure success with those key metrics, right? And when we talk about key metrics, especially when we're dealing with the email marketing campaign, it's very easy to keep track of those key performance indicators, right? Those KPIs, right? And it's going to be important because this is how you're going to address any kind of changes that you may need to make inside of your email marketing campaign. So it's going to track your progress, it's going to track those evaluation results, right? When we look at email marketing, some of the common key performance indicators that we want to kind of keep in mind are things like our open rate. When we're looking at our open rate, right, what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to measure how many of our recipients of the email, how many of them opened it, right? When we talk about a click through rate, right, this is where we're going to track how many people clicked on links within your email. Okay, this shows how well or how frequently or how your actual recipients are engaging with your material. And then of course we have our conversion rates, right? And this is where we're going to evaluate how many recipients completed whatever the desired action was, right? What call to action do we clearly put into this particular message? And then lastly, if there is any kind of revenue that was being generated, it will tell us how well our sales were in terms of the campaign, right? From the campaign, what is our return rate, right? How much did this particular campaign, in terms of metrics, how much of this campaign actually generated revenue? The third thing that we want to talk about is we want to ensure that it aligns with our broader business objectives, right? And what does that mean? Well, you want to ensure that your email marketing campaign is in harmony with all of your other business goals and all of your other marketing strategies. So, whether you're trying to boost your brand awareness because, hey, you're the new kid on the block, or if you're trying to nurture those customer relationships, because guess what? They bought something from you back in, on a Black Friday sale, but now it's February. Have you had any contact with those particular customers since then? Right. So we're trying to make certain that we're nurturing that relationship so that it becomes stronger. And then, or if in some cases, you may just be launching a new product or service. So we just want to make certain that whatever our business goals are at this particular moment, because they are transitional, right? Which means that they may be in the beginning to build brand awareness, but as time passed, and maybe we're now needing to nurture to nurture the customers that we do have, plus maybe even still have a little bit of brand awareness, or it could be we're now at the point where we're pretty stable, established, but we're going to be venturing into a new area, and so we need to launch a new product or service. So whatever it is, we just want to make certain that we have a clear goal, right? We want to make certain that the benefit of defining that goal, that it is upfront, that we are not hiding it from ourselves, or it's not difficult to find. So we want to make certain that we stay focused, right? We want to make certain that every email is driven with particular results in mind. And we want to make certain that we work smarter, right? Work smarter means making certain that we're taking the time to look at the metrics, and to make certain that the data is helping us make decisions. And then, of course, we want to make certain that it stays aligned with our broader business objectives. And all of that helps create an email marketing campaign goal that is sustainable as well as profitable for you and your intended audience. All right. Now, if you're finding this information helpful so far, which I know we've only gone through the first slide, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, right? It really helps us reach more people just like you. And remember, setting goals, right? Especially clear goals is not just about checking a box. It is about creating a purposeful campaign that aligns or delivers that meaningful results for your business. Okay. So if you're ready to take the next step, please be sure to apply for the email marketing for beginners cohort, okay, which is inside of the description. And don't forget about your free resource for this video, which is your planner, okay, your first planner, your goals planner for your email marketing campaign. Now, let's talk about setting our goals. So, how many of you are familiar with the SMART template, right? So, when we're talking about SMART, this is how we want to ensure we are setting goals. Okay, this framework helps ensure that our goals meet particular attributes. Okay, if you are familiar with the SMART goals setting framework, please go ahead and give me a yes. I have heard of this in the chat. And I just want to see how many of you are familiar with it. So the very first letter inside of our framework is going to be specific, right? So with this, we are basically saying that we want to make certain that our goals are clear and focused, right? That it leaves absolutely no room for any kind of ambiguities, right? You want to say things like, I want you to, instead of saying things, I should say, like, I want to improve my email marketing. You want to make certain that it is something that actually defines what it is you want to do. So I'm going to give you an example. So instead of saying, I want to improve my email marketing, you should have a clearer or more specific goal of, I want to increase my email list by 20% over the next 3 months, right? You see what happens? You gave a particular increase in terms of percentage. So you know where you are now, and 20% of that will be something that is measurable. And then of course you gave yourself a time frame. You didn't leave it open. You didn't say and that's it. You said in 3 months. So in 3 months your goal is to work to get your email list increased by 20%. That is a specific goal. That is absolutely what you want to do. Okay. You also want to make it measurable, right? And measurable is really a criteria like running a race without a finish line. If you don't have a measurable goal, you just out here just doing whatever and whenever, right? You won't know when you have achieved your objectives, right? So include numbers or metrics that allows you to track your progress and evaluate success. So here's an example. Um, You want to say, I am going to, and well, again, we're going to use our example from before. That'll just make it easier. Where you say improve engagement. Well, we were very specific in terms of how much, right? So we said we wanted to increase our email list by 20%. That is a measurable outcome. And the measurable goals really help you stay accountable because you're able to use data to help look at whether or not your performance is reaching your objective. Okay, so we talked about specific and we talked about measurable, right? And then the A is for achievable. So we always have heard the attitude of aim high, right? And that's absolutely what we should do. But your goal should be in a realistic manner, right? So you want to take into account your resources, your skills, your time, your capability, all of those things, right? Because if you're setting goals that is unreachable, you're going to get frustrated, you are going to be burned out. So you want to ask yourself, right? And these are only two things I'm going to give you right now, but you want to ask yourself, one, do I have the tools and resources to achieve this? Okay. And then two, is this goal realistic based on past performance? So when we're looking at our example, our aim or our measurable outcome is that we want to have an increase in the number of actual um, individuals on our email list, right? By 20%. We want to increase our email list by 20%, right? And so we have set a time frame of 3 months to get that done. Now, if we've been in business for 5 years and we've only achieved 100 subscribers, we really need to think about what is realistic. Now, we don't want to set the bar so low that doing absolutely nothing will probably make us reach it, but at the same time, we still want to make certain that we are setting it in a mid area where we are able to stretch ourselves, but not make it impossible for us to achieve it. So having a realistic goal in mind, something that is achievable, not something that's easy because that has no value for you, but something that is achievable and realistic. Okay, so the R is for realistic, right? That's where we kind of moving into our next phase. Achievable and realistic. Those two things kind of go together. So when you're looking at the realistic or how real is this, it really is talking about is this something that I would under normal circumstances and conditions be able to achieve, right? So you are just making certain that you look at your resources again, and you're making certain that you have those resources, and you're making certain that that realistic achievability aspect is based on information that you currently have. Okay, so the achievable and the realistic, that is something that you can work together. When we're looking at the T, which is the very last letter inside of our SMART framework, T is for time. So every goal that we have, there should be a deadline. Okay. So you want to make certain that your deadline, that whatever it is that you've said, that is done. Okay. So in most cases, businesses use milestones, right? And these milestones indicate various steps in the process where certain things should have taken place. So when you're building your goal, you want to ensure that your time frame or the time frame that you have identified for that particular objective, in this case is going to be for our email marketing campaign, that you have set it. Now we again are going to go back up to our initial goal, right? Which is we said we want to increase our email list by 20% over the next 3 months. So we have already determined what our time frame is. So we have until today when we get started until 3 months from now in order for us to see whether or not it was achievable. When we look at the SMART framework, we want to just kind of make certain that we are using all of our efforts for the email marketing campaign to be intentional and to be results driven, right? So when we're setting our goals, which is our very first thing, we want to make certain that it's specific. We want to make certain that it's measurable, achievable, relevant. I'm sorry, realistic and time bound, meaning there is a time frame that is set up for it, that it's not, oh yeah, and then sometime this year is not not gonna be a good time frame. Okay, you want to say 3 months, you want to say 90 days, you want to say in 6 months, you want to give yourself a deadline. This framework, right, is built inside of our goal planner. So if you haven't downloaded it, please be sure to go ahead and download it. Go into the description, you can find it there, and it's a resource for this particular video. All right. So the very next thing that we're going to talk about is making certain that, we're looking at some other key objectives inside of our email marketing campaign. The very first one that I want to talk to you about is brand awareness. So when we're looking at what are we trying to achieve with this particular campaign, you probably are saying, well, I kind of want to do some of all of this, right? I want some brand awareness. I may want to increase my sales. I probably want some lead generations or products or services, some kind of announcement of new products or service, or I want to just kind of drive more traffic to my website, a blog post, or Shopify store, whatever it is. Okay, you want to be able to really kind of narrow down your objective for your marketing campaign. That doesn't mean you can only have one email marketing campaign. You can have as many as you need, okay? But you want each one of them to have its own clear objective. So, when we're talking about building brand awareness through email marketing, this is going to be more than just sending messages, right? This is where you have the opportunity to create that consistent and that recognizable presence in your audience inbox, right? This can be achieved by a couple of things, right? You can share your brand story, you can share your brand's value, you can share the mission, right? In the way that something that your subscribers will find familiar, right? So let me give you an example, right? So one of the things that I've seen a lot of brands do is the behind the scene updates, right? When you give behind the scene updates, what this allows is for your audience to go behind the curtain, right? And it lets those subscribers feel connected to your brand because you're sharing the behind the scene content, right? And this could be things that are related to maybe your team story, your product development or updates, right? It could be even a sneak peek behind the scene of something that you're getting ready to launch. So building that brand awareness, yeah, it comes in a form of welcome emails, and yeah, it comes in a form of educational content, but it also can come in the form of just being, creative in a way to say, hey, look, because you are part of this community, you get an opportunity to see behind the scenes, right? When we're looking at lead generation is going to be key in your email marketing because this is how you're going to get those individuals who are interested in that one particular thing attention. All right. They're going to be drawn to your lead magnet. And when you think about a magnet, right, you feel the magnet drawing you towards it, right? You can see that if you're imagining what a magnet is. And your lead magnet should be doing the same thing. It should be drawing people towards you, right? So when we're looking at lead magnets, we want to attract potential customers. We want to encourage them to come on over and see what we are doing over here. Okay. Now, lead magnets can be anything. They could be email. Sorry, they could be ebooks. They could be white papers, right? They could be checklists. They could be planners, whatever it is. You can do a free demo if you like. Okay, a trial period. I mean, like, it's so many different things for your lead generation. Your lead magnet is going to be key, but that's going to bring them into your sphere of influence, if you will, right? This is where they go into your sales funnel and your mag and your sales funnel, and all of a sudden they're now inside of this system that you've created to kind of help them stay informed about who you are. All right. Increased sales. One of the things that we can kind of see with increased sales is that for sure, um, you don't want to have a case where you're launching or you have a new product and you find that a lot of people keep abandoning their carts, right? You want to make certain that you have a way to kind of send reminders to them, say, hey, look, hey, did you forget about, your cart? Or in some cases, send coupons, right? Like someone's cart been kind of parked for a minute, send them a 10% discount to get them in there and get that cart pushed through. Promoting products or service. See, like all of those things are going to be very key in terms of, what is your objective for your particular campaign, right? And we don't want to forget about driving traffic to your website. That's going to be also key as well. Those are just some of the things that we want to keep in mind in terms of big objectives, like big objectives for what is the purpose of our email campaign. All right. So again, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you have made it this far in the video, I want you to put my objective. Okay, just say my objective. And then if you are working on an email campaign or if you're thinking about building out an email campaign, I want you to know that this is your first step. You need to have a roadmap. And in that roadmap, it's giving you all of the keys and clues to kind of think about this or that in order to build out your entire email marketing strategy. So don't forget to download the actual planner that is inside the description. And if you are looking for a little bit more of an intensive and focused process for building your email marketing campaign, do not forget to go ahead and apply to the cohort. We would love to have you in the actual program. All right, so do you understand your target audience? Ooh, right? Understanding your target audience, this is key in any kind of successful email, right? You happen to know who your subscribers are. Um, what are their values, right? How they behave, what kind of message is going to resonate with them the best? How do I build trust with them, right? How do I have meaningful engagement with them, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at three things to help us better understand our audience. Okay. When we look at the three areas that help us understand our audience, the very first thing that we are going to want to know is a little bit of demographics. Now, demographics and interest is a big word, right? But this is where we begin in terms of the foundation for creating and tailoring those email campaigns. Now, when we're looking at any kind of demographics, this is data that we believe to be true about our audience. All right. This is what age group are we dealing with? All right. We know we have a couple of different generations running around right now. Which one are we targeting? Who are we talking to? Is there any kind of particular income levels or locations, right? And then when we start talking about interests, man, interests could go for miles and miles, right? But things like what kind of hobbies are they in? They're into, or passions, right? Or if you're dealing with technology, or if you're in a travel industry, like what's their interest, right? And then you have the psychographic things too that also help us understand our audience, right? And these are things that our values, our lifestyle, right? Those things that, really pull at our emotional messaging. And these are things that, are not necessarily um, readily identifiable, right? It could be, things that just kind of are very sublime to like all the other layers of the demographics and interests that we hold. But we want to really dig into who is our demographics and in their interests. I'm going to have another training called Building My customer persona. And with building my customer persona, we're going to walk through the process of building your customer. Because when you build your customer, now you have a person to talk to. We're going to name them, we're going to do the whole thing. And this is going to help you really help, drill down your messaging. Okay. So, the other thing that we want to kind of think about is, are they existing customers or new customers? When we're talking about existing customers, our intention for the marketing campaign through email should be on retention, right? It should be on nurturing and creating loyalty in that group, right? So in this particular type of scenario, we probably are not going to give them a lead magnet. Like that's already done. But we probably are going to offer them exclusive discounts, right? We're going to probably encourage them to join a reward program or something. We want to kind of make certain that we take into account past history, right? And past history means, well, what did they purchase from us before? Right. And whatever they purchase, do we have something that we could potentially offer them that is similar or that will help in the use of whatever it is they purchased the first time? Right. And that's where we can look at upsells and those types of things. So we want to just kind of make certain that we really understand who our customer is. It is a new prospect. This is where we have an opportunity to really get our brand in front of them, right? Through our welcome email, we are really introducing them to our unique value, okay, proposition. And with that, we're setting expectations for future communications, okay? So we may offer lead magnets, we may offer free trials, right? We may offer discounts, right? First time buyers sign up, those types of things. So we're in the habit with new prospects, with new individuals who are coming into our funnel, into our sphere of influence. We're trying to build trust by sharing, you know, information that is going to help them understand our unique value proposition. And then the last thing that we really want to kind of think about when we talk about knowing our audience, what problem do they need solved? And I know you probably have heard this so many times before. What is the pain point, right? But I want to break it down to you in these three things, right? The first thing you want to do when you talk about how to identify a pain point, you have plenty of opportunity to gather the information that is going to be utilized to help you understand, what information is critical for resonating with that audience. Okay, so some of the things that you could do, which is, things that is in some cases without cost, is you can conduct surveys, you can do interviews, you can ask customers, right? You can analyze the customer feedback if you have customers, right? You could also take opportunity to really kind of hop into various chat and forums to kind of see what's the temperature in that world about this particular subject. So there's so many ways for you to kind of help see where you can solve their problems. You also want to make sure that you literally understand what the problem is, and then you address the problem in some way, right? So you want to highlight whatever your solution is. right? You're going to do this through your messaging. So you're going to say things like, and this is just, if you had some software or something that you were using for analytics, you would say, I should say, instead of saying something like, our software has advanced analytics, right? You could say something like, save time and make smarter decision with our easy to use analytic tool. Wow. Save time and make smarter decisions? Okay, sign me up, right? You want to make certain that you don't um make your solution so broad that they can't really see the value, right? You want your offer, the to have a clear and measurable outcome, right? So offer things that is going to resonate with them, Q and A's, how to guides, things like that. And then of course you want to just kind of make certain that you create your campaigns in a way that is specific to whatever that pain point is. So if you were a financial advisor, or you knew that your audience had particular financial concerns, right? You want to kind of drive your resources for that solution in a way that will be clear how they can get relief from those financial issues, right? You want to make certain that it's convenient, right? Meaning that it's done in a expedient manner, not, hey, everything is going to be, done in 15 minutes or less, but you want to give a real measurable time frame. This goes back to our SMART framework, right? Your audience is expecting to get results using that same type of method. You want it to be something that is specific and measurable with the particular end time. Okay. So keep that in mind as we're building out our solutions for having the answer to their problem. Okay. So, how about the click through rates? Okay. Excuse me. Look, we're almost done. Okay. But when we're looking at how do we measure success in the email marketing, success has a couple of different key performance indicators like I identify a little bit earlier in this video, but we're going to talk through a couple of ones that is particular to email marketing. All right. So when we're looking at email marketing, we have a couple of indicators that will help us determine whether or not our campaign is effective, right? So we talk about open rates, we talked about click-through rates, we talked about conversion rates, right? I mentioned each of those a little bit earlier, but now I want to kind of go back through and just kind of give an example. So when we're looking at an open rate, right? This is going to measure the percentage of individuals who open the email out of the total that was delivered, right? It reflects in many cases how your subject line, was it compelling? Was the sender name and pre-header text, did that capture their attention, right? This is when we go into customizing the email so that it becomes more personable. When we're talking about what is an average or industry benchmark for any kind of open rate, the open rate from an industry benchmark um, standpoint, and you can write this down. So write it down so you'll be able to kind of refer back to it later. Is 24.38%, with top performing campaigns reaching sometime over 40%. Okay. So, how can you improve your open rate? I'm going to give you four ways you can possibly improve your open rate. The first thing is you want to use personalized subject line. So, include the recipient's name, right? You want to optimize the send time. When you have a customer, when you have a actual system that you're using to keep and capture your email list, you're able to kind of look and see when is the best time to actually send your email. So you want to make certain that you're sending them at the most opportune time or the optimized time. You want to keep your subject lines concise. And what we mean by that is you want to use about 61 to 70 characters. Okay. And then you want to leverage those pre-header texts to help you kind of draw or to gain the attention of those individuals. So those pre-header texts are very important. And lastly, you want to just kind of make certain that you have a strong, a strong open line, right? Excuse me, I think I kind of went through that really quickly. And you want to kind of just make certain that that is one of the things that you have as well. When we're talking about a click-through rate, the click-through rate, what this does is it measures the percentage of recipients who actually click on a link within your email out of the total. It's a direct indicator of how engaging and actionable your email content is. So how strong was my call to action, right? The industry benchmark for this is anywhere between 2 to 5% for a general campaign. Now, and that's and again, you want to kind of write that number down just so you can kind of go back and look at it later once we start building out your email campaigns to see exactly how you weigh against the industry standard. Some of the ways that we can possibly improve this rate is one, include a clear call to action, right? You want our call to action to be compelling, like shop now or learn more, right? You want to optimize your call to action placement. So you want it to be like very prominent inside of the email, right? And you want it to be throughout the email. You don't want to just say, click here, at the very end. You want to kind of see it in the beginning, the middle, and the end. You want it all the way throughout. You want to use visually appealing buttons instead of the hyperlinks for a call to action. So instead of just hyperlinking it, use a button that says, get your download here, right? And then just have a little arrow pointing to it. And then you want to segment your audience to make certain that it is only going to individuals who are interested in this content. So I have a couple of different segments for emails that I send because I have a couple of different portions side of the training division. So not all of the individuals who inside of my email list get all the same emails. For course creation, some get email for business, starting a business. Some get emails for other more particular pieces of information, right? So you want to make sure that you're segmenting your audience so that people aren't getting things in their email box that they're not even really concerned or interested with. Okay. And if you don't know how to do that, then you definitely want to make certain that you go to the description, click on the application for the email marketing for beginners because we're going to talk about that inside of the cohort. The last thing that we're going to talk about is the conversion rate. When we're looking at the conversion rate, this is going to measure the percentage of recipients who take any kind of action by after clicking through your email, like they're making a purchase, they're signing up for an event, they're downloading a resource. So anything that deals with them actually having some kind of communication after the email is closed, that's what the conversion rate is. Okay. So this is going to tie directly to the performance of those emails as well as the business, right? Because this is where you start getting into revenue generating type activities. All right. So when we're looking at our industry benchmark for conversions, this rate is very it varies throughout industry. So it could be as low as 0.09%. Okay. And it could be anywhere as high as 18.5, 18.5% for like carts that are abandoned. So, again, having, a clear call to actions is going to be a key in making certain that you can convert, making certain that you have like fast moving or fast loading type lead pages or landing pages, making certain that you have the ability to have your landing pages be mobile responsive, meaning that if the 90% of your audience is actually viewing your emails on their phone, that it doesn't look wonky whenever, they open it, that it looks clean. So you want to make certain that that's something that is also something that we will go through inside of the cohort. And then, of course, you want to make certain that you're using those incentives, right? Those incentives to encourage immediate actions. Any kind of triggers, like for abandoning carts, right? You want to make certain that you're getting those back in front of those customers as early as possible. And then, of course, any kind of A/B testing elements for your call to actions, your visuals, or any other kind of copy that is going to help you determine which one is resonating better with your audience. You want to go ahead and do that. That all helps with those conversions, right? So, why these particular metrics? Why do they matter? So some of the reason why they matter is because we want high open rates, right? This shows that we have an audience that is engaged. Okay, we want those strong click-through rates. Why? Because again, it shows that our content is appealing to our intended audience, right? And that helps drive engagement. And then, of course, we want a good conversion rate, right? And a good conversion rate helps the bottom line because that's going to be where the revenues show up. Okay. And so we want those participants to be motivated to move through the process into the purchase, okay, of those particular goods or services. So if we can do this, if we can track those key performance indicators, right, which we listed, it's only three. If we can track them, we can determine and identify where the strengths and weaknesses are inside of our email marketing campaign. And then we can help correct it, right? So that we can maximize the results next time, all right? Continuously getting better, continuously. All right. If you're enjoying this particular video, please remember to subscribe, please. And don't forget to download your free resource if you haven't done so already. All right. So let us continue. So you want some dates, right? You want to set a timeline for your marketing campaign. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start with the date, right? The start date is going to mark the official time that your email campaign is going to launch. Okay. And you're going to set the tone for all the other activities. So choosing the right date is going to be very important to making certain that those emails land in the inbox of your audience, right? That is ready to engage with you, right? So how do you choose your date? So you want to consider your audience behavior. All right. And again, this goes back to us looking at our data. So you want to analyze any kind of past campaigns that you may have had before. And you want to think about, what day of the week is going to work best, what hour of the day is going to work best, right? You want to think about how your audience has responded to your previous campaigns or emails, okay? And then, of course, you want to make sure that you factor in enough time for designing the campaign, for testing the campaign, and then, of course, for scheduling those emails before the start date, okay? Because all of that work has to be done before the campaign actually is launched. And then you want to think about a campaign ending. The end date is going to really be when your campaign is going to conclude, right? This is going to be when it's going to be the last email that is going to be sent in this particular objective for this particular email marketing campaign. So how do you choose this? So one of the things you want to do is make certain that it aligns with any kind of offers or deadlines that you've already kind of created inside of the messaging. If you're running a 10-day sale, then the end date coincide with the actual sale expiration date. Okay. You want to avoid overextending or prolonging any kind of campaign. Okay. Especially for any kind of unnecessary reason, because people will get email fatigue. All right. And when they get email fatigue, they're going to basically stop engaging. And that's something that we don't want to happen. So you want to just kind of remember that. So, what are some other key events that you should kind of think about. So, key events are going to be things inside of your business or dates inside of your business or milestones inside of your business that are relevant, right? And that they maximize impact. So, We have about 12, I believe, national holidays. You could have a campaign around all of them. I'm just saying, okay? So that goes into any kind of seasonal, holiday, industry specific campaign that goes into any kind of product launches that you may have, right? All of those are going to be key events. Okay. So you want to go ahead and you want to plan ahead. You want to work forward, you want to work backwards, right? To determine when emails need to be sent. And so having this in mind, right? This is where the planning comes into play with your email marketing campaign. If you set out to do this on a 12-month basis, you can go ahead and kind of identify those key dates for when you want to actually start your campaign and when you want it to end because it's going to center around those key events. Okay. So, again, the key is to plan ahead, map out milestones. We talked about that earlier, incorporate follow up, account for testing. Okay. These are some of the things you want to kind of remember for making sure that you have a good timeline. And then, of course, you want to monitor performance, right? You want to make sure that you're always monitoring performance. A well-planned timeline, a well-planned timeline, it should create a smooth execution, okay? So stay organized, right? Avoid any kind of last minute scrambling if you can. You want to deliver timely messages that resonate with your audience. You want to create urgency that drives action. And then you want to make sure that it aligns with the broader marketing strategy for cohesive branding. Okay. If this video has been helpful to you, please don't forget support the channel by liking it, by subscribing, I'm sorry, and clicking the thumbs up button to like this particular video. Okay. We are at the end. Okay. We're going to stop wasting time on email marketing campaigns that don't work, right? We want the ones that work. So, how do we do this? We're going to define our purpose, right? We're going to understand our audience. We're going to set measurable metrics. We're going to create timelines. And we're going to always make certain that every single one of those align with our business objectives. Okay. If you follow these 5 steps, right? Defining your purpose, understanding your audience, setting measurable metrics, creating timelines, and aligning your business objective, you can create your first step of the marketing campaign, right? This is a strategic, type endeavor, right? The key is for you to get clarity in your marketing campaign so that when your emails go out, they serve a specific purpose and delivers meaningful results for your business, right? Again, thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you plan your next email marketing campaign, don't forget to like it. It really helps us grow here. And don't forget to subscribe for more marketing tips delivered straight to your feed. Okay, let's be honest. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Go ahead and drop them in the comments below. I read every single one of them. I will respond. And don't forget to grab your free planner, okay, in the description. And if you want to have a more detailed and insightful um, hands-on process for creating your email marketing campaign, please don't forget to go ahead and apply for the cohort. We would love to have you in the program. Again, thank you so much. My name is Janice here with Hills Leadership and Training Institute, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.